Super thrilled to be here. Thank you all for sitting through the next 8 minutes. I'm going to dive in. Let's see, is this working? It's working. That's it. Back. Okay, we're going to get started. So, AI. That's the thing we're talking about today, right? So I'm not seeing it down here if anybody can post it up here. But essentially, what we're seeing, and this is new Phocuswright research, over the past, year, we've gone from 33% to 56% of people are seeing an AI surface or are interacting with an AI surface when they're going through their travel research, planning, and booking journey, which is a problem for travel. Another problem we're dealing with is signal. And signal is, what do we know about our customers? I know Mario was up here. He said, who has seen from beginning to end somebody go through the travel research, planning, and booking journey in an agentic manner? And one person in the room raised their hand. And that's because over the past couple of years, we have been stripped of our ability to see, read, and understand what travelers are doing as part of their purchase journey. It's attribution blockages, it's new limitations on what we can see from a privacy standpoint. It's all of the regulation, primarily coming out of Europe and then adopted by California, of course. And it's making it hard. This privacy, stupid privacy, good God. So that all said, we are at a kind of turning point in travel, as we've talked about. The surfaces that we've relied on, primarily search, are challenged at this point. So just looking at the industry and the dependency on search, 20 billion in ad spend on search in 2025 estimated. You can verify that with Nelson, he's in the room. Let's see, 72% of travelers use search engines during their active research planning phase. And lastly, the industry traffic originating from organic search results, 53% of traffic is estimated, according to SimilarWeb, to come from search. So travel, yes, very dependent on search broadly. And what we have is a lot of that ad spend under our management at Propellic. We're a marketing firm that does SEO, generative engine optimization, and paid media. We've worked with about 120 travel brands and have had about $250 million in ad spend pass through our data warehouse. And what we've done is we've been able to query that data warehouse and find and learn exactly at a moment in time what's happening. For instance, we can go into our data warehouse and say, there's a small thing happening in the Middle East that I'm sure a couple of you have heard of. We can see exactly how, at a point in time, that's affecting customer acquisition and travel with a single query across 120 travel brands. So I'm here today to share with you the 5 things that we see as what drive bookings and what I perceive and what my team perceives to drive bookings as we proceed into the next 5 years of the industry. So just looking at, I'm going to skip this, let's see. So here's kind of the 5 things that we're going to talk about. And we're going to start with establishing truth. We're going to talk about mapping leverage, growth, demand, and scaling. These are the 5 pillars of the Propellic methodology and what we help our clients and customers with. And the first one, and just for all of these, I'm going to give you an example of what it looks like to do it well. The first one, this established truth one, it's tracking is a commodity. Engineering your own signals is the mode. I'm going to give you an example of what that looks like. So who here is running advertising for their business? Who here has a business that relies somewhat on paid search? Most of the room. Yeah, so when you get a purchase, I would argue that primarily the most common feature, or the most common signal that you're going to feed Google is you're going to tell Google or Meta or any of the ad platforms that you're running with something like this. Someone visits a home page, they visit a destination page, they visit a tour page, and then they book a tour. Let's say the tour has 16, can fit 16 people. I'm going to use multi-day tours as an example because it's one where this specific thinking paradigm really helps. Let's say they book a tour, there's 14 seats available of 16 still. So it's an underbooked tour. They're going to spend $1,000 on that, and we're going to tell Google, Meta, any ad platform that they spent $1,000. Right? That's how we're going to tell the ad platform. And the ad platform is going to go target more people that are going to spend $1,000. And that's simple. That's great. I would argue that most travel companies haven't even set this up. I'm sure the ones in this room have. But here's how we would suggest doing it. Instead of telling Google or Meta or any of the ad platforms that you're working with that you got a $1,000 conversion, let's use some of the details about our business and drive the outcomes that we actually want to have happen. For instance, let's say that we lose money until a tour with 16 seats on it has 8 people on it. Say we're an operator. In a case like that, if we can multiply the value of that conversion and tell the ad platform that it was an undersold tour, so we're going to tell the ad platform that there was a more valuable purchase, 2 times more valuable, we're now at a $2,000 conversion value. The ad platform is going to go seek more people that look like that person that booked the tour that was undersold. And then let's pretend that, for instance, we're trying to book more of a specific tour type. Let's say there's a partnership that we've established or something of that nature where we really want to deliver more bookings for this tour type. We're going to tell Google, Meta, the ad platform, that it's actually worth more. And then the person booked really far in advance. That's really good for our business. So we're going to tell Google, Meta, the ad platform, that they booked in advance. So we're going to make it a more valuable conversion. And then maybe it was a single person booking. We want families, so we're going to discount it a little bit. That same conversion, we're now telling Google, Meta, the ad platform, is worth 2.8 times what we originally did, whereas a less valuable booking, we could tell Google, whatever ad platform you're using, I'm going to stop saying that, is a less valuable booking. That's an example of how you can use your signals. I'm going to zoom through a number of these because I've got a conversation with Joe coming up in a second. But other things you should be and can be doing is understanding travel demand. Know where your travelers are coming from. Don't just put ads out in the wild. Have a strategic approach to how you're targeting. The way that you grow and the way that you plan needs to change, needs to improve. Right now, people are using spreadsheets. I would say companies that are spending less than $5-10 million a year on advertising generally don't have access to some of these tools, like what we've built across for our data warehouse, and that's going to be something like a media mix model. You want to test incrementality before you spend the money, so you can know what's likely to happen with a degree of confidence rather than just putting the money in the wild and seeing what happens. This is strategic marketing. Another thing that you should be doing is showing up and activating demand where it needs to be activated. I just filed our R&D tax credit. It was $1.3 million we spent last year on understanding how travelers are researching, planning, and booking with AI and how to optimize generative engine optimization. And being everywhere can drive outcomes. Here's one of our clients in the room. Sarah's going to be coming up on stage later, G Adventures. 264% increase in quarter-over-quarter revenue from AI referral traffic as a result of optimizing for the new surfaces where travelers are researching, planning, and booking. So be everywhere and then scale it. And the incrementality metric, here's an example. When you get everything to a point where you can't establish substantial returns, you need to start getting more scientific. So use the media mix models, use the tools that you have available for incrementality to drive outcomes that are better than just increasing spend broadly across your accounts. It's a simple one, but it's amazing how far away we get from the simple things the more and more we do the work that we do. So Propellic has a couple of resources that I'd love to share with you. Number one is our Navlog. It's a bi-weekly newsletter on what's happening in travel marketing. It's information and insights from our data warehouse. The next one that's coming out is the impact of the conflict in the Middle East on travel customer acquisition, which I think is a very important thing. And John, our Chief Revenue Officer over there, is working on that right now. And then our podcast, a number of the people in this room have been on that. If anybody thinks they have something interesting to say, like Mario, who was up here earlier, who had a great podcast episode with us, would love to have you on. And lastly, if you want to meet with anybody at the Propellic team, we've got a couple of us here. Feel free to come say hi. And now I'm going to talk to Joe.
Talk about the S's today. We have search, we have signal, we have stacks, tech stack. And
Well done.
And we have scalability.
Scalability.
Yeah. So let's start with search, right? It's been certainly a topic of the day. We're talking about what it looks like now. Where do you see search in 3 to 5 years, and will people still use Google search?
It's such an interesting question. That's kind of like the pivotal thing. I started this company, and we were just doing search engine optimization for 10 years, and I was like, well, I guess I got to change what we're doing. Got to figure this shit out now. So basically what I see happening is it's very obvious. There's a new surface, right? Even if you go to Google, whether you use AI mode or you use just standard search, you're going to see something like an AI overview, some sort of generative response. And by and far, if anybody who remembers early on when you would go to ChatGPT, you'd ask it a question about something recent, it would say, I don't know, it happened after September 2021. Remember that? And that's still functionally how the large language models work. The difference is now they have access to search tools. So I'm going to personify it for a second. The large language model can say, I have no idea because I was trained up to X day and this happened after X day, and I'm going to go use search. And that's foundationally happening in 80 to 90% of travel searches anecdotally. So if I go and ask a travel question, it's just not me doing the search. The large language model is doing the search and returning a couple of answers. So are people going to be searching traditionally the way they always have? Not necessarily. Are the same tools that are driving delivery, for instance, Google's AI overviews are primarily built by the primary results on the search engine ranking page, the first couple getting the primary weight of it, and then the ones at the bottom getting less and less. I think people will still be looking for things, obviously. The format in which they get that information is going to be more conversational than a SERP.
Yeah, well said. So transitioning from search to discoverability, a lot of talk about brand safety, maintaining a brand right within LLMs. Like what is that? What are ways that you're seeing and advising to optimize for that discovery?
That's so Anthropic. You're throwing ones at me I didn't expect. No, I'm kidding.
I just rephrased it.
I'm not ready, guys. No, I'm kidding. Basically, so Anthropic did this study last year. Anthropic is the company that created Claude. And the study basically showed they were testing how much it takes to poison a large language model, quote unquote. Like how can you influence the information that a large language model has? And their finding was it only takes about 250 mentions of a fact that challenges existing fact in the data set, no matter how much data is in the data set, to get the large language model to start doubting its knowledge. So if you wanted to go and change Washington's birthday, there's a way you can do that, right? So that is the brand recognition. That is what we call co-occurrence, how frequently a brand shows up next to a concept. So if we want Phocuswright to show up next to travel tech, the more frequently that is mentioned in aggregate online in the training data set, the more likely it is to be pulled when someone does the search. So if you go and look for a travel marketing firm anywhere in the US, you'll find that we show up in the large language models immediately because of that. It's PR. And I've never been a huge fan of PR, but I'm a fan of PR now. Like really, I mean it.
All right. So the next stack, tech stacks, right? You're working with a lot of clients. You have your own tech stack, right? If you could fix one thing, kind of generally speaking, it could be a specific example in the tech stack today, what would that be?
I think people need to be sending better signals to their ad platforms. For whatever reason, we can't do anything in ad platforms anymore. You can change the budget, you can change kind of the audience, and you can change the target. I mean, you can change the signal. Like, you really don't have that many levers you can pull. Sure, you can get in there and change bid adjustments some of the companies we work with have 36 million pages on their website, so you can't really be doing manual bid adjustments for that big of an account, right? So what you can do though is remember that sample I showed of here's how you feed a different signal to the ad platform. You need to think about how you can bring your company's data, operational data, like capacity. I mean, travel, not as much in this room, but a lot of travel is fixed inventory based. A lot of this room is reselling and third-party distribution. But if you have any sort of fixed inventory and you're not using that as part of your signal, you're missing out on using an ad platform to optimize for your gross margin rather than just your revenue.
And I love how you said, and I think the room did too, how owning your signal and creating your signal creates that competitive advantage more than ever. And now let's shift to as we're scaling that, right? Attribution models, right? That has always been hard in travel, right? Travel is a complex customer journey, and the path to purchase is multi-channel, multi-device. So what are you seeing with getting closer to sharper signal with attribution models and getting closer to bookings?
I think I will certainly say if you are using Google's last click or data-driven attribution model in travel, you are missing out, and you're missing the big picture. And those are the only two that are really available in the standard GA4 stack. So whether you're I know Travis Pittman's going to be on stage later. Y'all should ask him that question because he has a great answer for it. But I think that depending on the price of the thing, the higher the price, the earlier on in the path you need to attribute the revenue, and the less intermediary business there is in that space, the more you need to attribute to the first click. It's very hard though because the booking journey can be over 100 days, and most ad platforms have a 90-day conversion window. That's problematic. You need to have your own attribution thing. You can't just be using the stuff that's built into GA4.
Right. All right. Last one we'll call this a lightning question, lightning round. So we started with 3 to 5 years out in your view and prediction. So right here, right now, for the marketers and digital leaders in the room, what do they need to be building into their strategic plans right now, today?
It's funny. I mean, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I just talked about signal and attribution, and I would assume, based on the fact that I've talked to probably 300 travel brands this year, and what is it? It's March, and it's going to be it's the attribution and signal. Work on the things that are going to work for you rather than trying to go manually do all of these little individual tasks.
Well said. Right on the money. All right.
Awesome.
Nicely done.
Thank you so much.
Everyone.
Appreciate it.